Good evening. Good evening, Mr. P. Just me and you, my friend. So it might be a short event. Cheers to you. Loving the bike model, mate. The pictures you put up were amazing. Loved it. It was stunning. Just in a meeting. I'm online. What's up?
I've just had to. Have you sent a parcel to come here?
No.
I've just had a text message. Ernest, we attempt to deliver your
Delete it.
parcel
Delete
today.
it. Delete it. It's a fake message. Delete it.
Oh. All
All right.
All right.
All right.
That's it.
Yeah, catch you later. Steven Spielberg doesn't get these problems. Oh, yes, I can. Yes, I can. What we was quite funny, actually. Martin said we should think about putting a physical calendar together of builds throughout the year, which, if you take into account printing costs and things like that, and would we ever actually sell any, it didn't kind of make much sense. However, what we can do is, if people want to submit their best build for each of the months so far, so that's January, February, March, April. So if you've done, I don't know, 2 diecasts, a diecast for January, a diecast for February, a plastic model kit for March, and I don't know, something else for April, we'd put a online calendar together that I'd put up each month. So we could have, 4 images from MLM, 4 images from yourself, Mr. P, 4 images from Martin, and whoever else wanted to take part. So it's kind of like a celebration of the best builds throughout the year. So that was kind of where I was heading with it, if that makes sense. So it's just a case of if anybody wants to be included, and then just send me 1 image a month or 4 to start off with, and we'll get this thing off and running. And then probably next month, I'd include my plastic starter kit build, something along them lines. So I like to mix it up a bit. I hope that makes sense. Good evening, Lee. Now we're cooking. So what I might do, Lee, is later on, depends how many people turn up, is we may do like an after show and go on to rooms on Facebook, rather than people just watching me or looking at the screen. I think rooms is the future of this kind of multimedia scenario. Everybody gets to be able to chip in, and if they've got something to say, that's great. I will. What I'll do, Mr. P, because I know you are now. I'm not going to say out loud because you never know who's listening. I'll private message you. My email address is on the about page, I think, of my channel. Just email them to that, and yeah, I'll do that. It's not a problem. And you don't have to do one. You don't have to do one every month. It might be that you do one in January, skip a couple of months, and do one in May. So it's just whatever images we get sent to, whatever images I get sent to me, I'll include. I know Michael from Australian Graveyard was thinking about sending it. Obviously, Martin will do it as well. What we're talking about, Lee, is we're considering creating a publication, an online publication, if you like. And I'm quite happy to share the videos out. Share the video out, so if anybody wants to copy the video, they can put it on their own page. It's almost like a month by month calendar of the best builds that people have done. So if I can get 4 images for January, February, March, April, I'll I'll include them in a calendar. It's pretty much like how we do the Beefeater promos. We do the before and after shots for the Beefeater promos, but in this instance, we'll give everybody a shout out for each of the months. And if you can't find the address, Mr. P, just drop me a line on Facebook, and I'll quite happily pass on my email address. Fair enough, mate. It can even be, Lee, if you do something like an unboxing. I know you haven't had a chance to do many diecast models yet, but if you do an unboxing, you can take a photo of the unboxing, like the one that you had from Laz, and we can share that as an image. I just had a bit of detail, so this is Lee's favourite model from an unboxing in, I don't know, April or March, whatever it may be. It's just a thought, really, just to help promote the community and people's builds. Because we do these monthly, these bi-monthly builds, whether it be the MLM, the challenge, or the Beefeater challenges, but we miss out on some of the other great builds that people are doing. And I love your models, Mr. P, so if we could feature some of them, that'd be great. Cheers, we're empty already. So there's 3 online. I think it might just be us 3, to be fair. I don't know if there's anybody else there. I know Martin is, if you've watched his latest video, the Beefeaters build, he did say that he has been suffering with his eye. Well, he's had an operation. But I can assure you that I've been in touch with him and he's doing well. So that was positive news. My other Beefeater colleagues, George from Diecast Salvage is heavily getting into 3D printing. I've purchased one myself, and what it gives us the opportunity to do is, because spare parts you can't officially sell a Matchbox, Dinky, Corgi, Majorette or whatever spare part, but what I found out was that it wasn't that complicated, Mr. P. In fact, I've got it here. Let me just check on. I think the biggest issue might be choice of colour. Evening, Moz. How you doing, buddy? Because it's a bit like the Starship Enterprise. Is that the right grey? Oh, good, thank you, mate. So there is the body. Yeah, the amount of flashing on the sprues was incredible. So what I've basically done, Moz and Mr. P, is I've approached it the way that I would do a diecast model, effectively. So you're filing down the lines, priming it, undercoat, top coating it. So I've been using high coat rattle cans, and I can't remember what this is. It's metallic silver, but so I've done that, and then the interior I've done with a darker grey, and then used aluminium Revel paint for the suspension. And here's my mate Paul. Evening, Paul. I was detailing the dashboard last night, so it's a work in progress, really. I've quite enjoyed it. It was a case of, what have I learned because the channel I did its 1 year birthday, which took me by surprise. But it was a case of, what have I learned in them 12 months from the likes of Martin Dare, Paul, Mr. P, people like that. And can I put that into practice now and do a better plastic model than I did when I did my big USS Enterprise, which sadly has fell to bits and I've got to repair it. So I've been kind of mixing the two crafts, if you like, whether it be model making and or die-cast restoration. A big hoofing kebab for my cider. I'll get rid of the kebab and just go straight for the cider. Actually, that's not fair. That's not true because I'm not a cider drinker. I'm not a cider drinker. If it was Scotch, I'd quite happily put a kebab to one side for a bottle of Scotch. So with the 3D printing that I was talking about, we can't sell licensed products. So if you're doing something like, let me just give you an example. I'm sure everybody, probably not Moz. I don't know how into your die-cast you are, Moz. But with the Land Rover, the luggage that sits on top, okay, I got 2 replacement parts, and including postage, it was £5.30. So now I've been invested in the 3D printer. Can now print, which is a terrible shot. I apologise, it's white and the light's not brilliant. But I've almost got an exact replica printed in 3D. And I've got, I think I've done 3 of these now, and between them, they haven't cost 10 pence. There is the, spraying it and getting it the right colour. Yeah, there's various branches. Which what I love about our community is that there's various branches of the hobby, whether it be plastic models, whether it be die cast, whether it be restoration, whether it be Tonka, whether it be Matchbox, it's such an eclectic mix of stuff, which is brilliant. What pointed me in the direction of the one that I got, Moz, was I got the Ender 3 version 2. And George, one of our Beefeater teammates, has also got one. And so has a friend of mine from work. He's got one. So I was able to ask questions. And George was brilliant. He came on and helped me set it up. So there's a multitude of YouTube videos out there. The biggest problem I had was setting up the printer bed itself. It sits on 4 springs with cogs underneath it, and you really have to get it level. Else, if you're doing, I don't know, something like a square box. I mean, one of the things I printed yesterday was a car ramp, a car lift, and the top printed out fine, but I have several attempts at doing the legs until I got the right settings. And you can end up making multitude of settings, changes to settings, depending on what you're printing. What you can do, what you do with the 3D printer, it comes with what's called a slicer, and you can go on to a website called Thingiverse. That's Thingy, THINGI verse, VERSE, and you can download pre-made CAD plans, and you just slice them. It basically means make any alterations and save them as a plan, and then you send them to a memory card, a little SD card. You plug the SD card into the printer. Use the menu to scan which file you want, and away you go. Yeah, I mean, one of our challenges, Moz, coming up is Paul knows about it, is to do a cyberpunk themed vehicle. And I mean, the only vehicles I know from that are cyberpunk, if you like, are the Back to the Future DeLorean. Something along them lines, or Damnation Alley. The big, if you're old enough, you'll remember a film called Damnation Alley with Judge Peppard in it, and it got a vehicle. I'm sure it was called the Land Cruiser. I'd love to be able to do that, but it's a big old piece of work. Yeah. So, but the thing is, if there's enough of us that can make 3D pots, we can share them around the community. Not at a price, but as a somebody could say, "Can you do me 3 of these, and I'll provide you with some PLA." The Tron vehicle, yeah, or a Mad Max type scenario. So the thing was, I went onto this Thingiverse, and you can find plans, and they're called Gasland plans or Gasland widgets. So you can find plans for. This is a terrible shot, so I'll probably text them. I think you may have seen the photo on the Facebook community page. I did a print. I did a print and took a shot. But you can print rockets and Gatling guns and all that kind of stuff, and little whizdings that you would bolt onto glue onto a car to give it a bit of a theme. Yeah, steampunk. Just you're not wrong, mate. Just bolt a few cogs onto it. But even with things like that, I was in a garden centre local to where I live, and they've got like a flower arranging section and a rack of accessories, and they got this gold and copper wire, and it was ideal if you was going to. It was the ideal kind of thing to use if he was doing stuff on a DeLorean, the Back to the Future DeLorean, for the wiring and things like that. It's amazing where you can find parts that you will use in your hobby. I mean, I don't know. Do you go really in depth with your plastic model kits, Moz, where you add to it, add weathering and then add wiring in tank cabs and stuff like that? I can understand how you could make a business out of it, by the way. I think that's mainly what some of us used in the past. Steve Flowers, we've all ordered stuff from him, and I can imagine he's just basically sat there with 3 or 4 3D printers with a license from, Mattel to print off spare parts. Yeah, Haberdashery restores, Paul. Yeah, exactly the same thing, mate. If you're looking for the jeweled headlights, that kind of stuff. What I'll tell you, Lee, is tomorrow. No, not tomorrow. Sunday, I think it is. That's all the PLA I've got left. It came with a sample. A small reel, a sample of PLA, which ain't going to last 5 minutes. But Sunday, I've got 3 big reels coming. I've got orange, blue, and black. I think it's either black or white, but you get no end on the reel. So I'm waiting basically for some more PLA to come. But when I get some more, mate, 1, I'll do you one of them, and 2, I want to do what you can do in the slicer software. You can scale it. So if you've got a larger dinky, like a Matchbox Super Kings, this one's geared up for. Where did I put my little Land Rover? So this one's geared up for the size of a Matchbox small. Or the 1/64th, Paul? He'll tell me. That size. But if you wanted to do a Super Kings, you can just scale it up. mate, that's SWAD stands is South Derbyshire for terrorist. We don't need to have any groups. Everybody's a terrorist in SWAD. So Moz, I'm into steampunk. Wild Wild West would be perfect movie if it was without the comedy. I know Will Smith. Yeah, that big bloody mechanical spider, if I remember rightly. But I do like some of the what's that steampunk band? Is it steam? It's something giraffe. Oh, I can't remember. But I do love the steampunk look and the gadgetry. I've seen dragons made out of nuts and bolts and plating. We've got a couple of shops in town that do this. They make electric lights that look like gas lamps and all sorts. Amazing stuff. Mr. D, bless him, he's here. How are you, mate? Mr. P, I have seen a video, and I can't remember, forgive me, because I can't remember who it was, of people nicking stuff from their next door neighbours because they've got better soil or gravel that they can use in their diorama. Steam powered giraffe, correct. Moz, correct. I love their stuff. It's so funny, and some of it's really good. But we're fortunate. It can take me probably about half an hour to get to Walsall from where I live. But they've got a fantastic model shop there. It's more Moz's kind of hobby shop than it is a restoration shop. So they've got all the dioramas, they've got the railways, they've got the plastic kits. I got one of the TV series Batmobile models from there, and they've got all the shapes of timber and styrene. It's an amazing shop. It's like going to Mr. Ben's tailor shop. We've got everything for an hobbyist there, you know. Now they do all the various paints, the eye coats and the Tamiya's and stuff like that. Oh, ba-boom. Collect your hat and coat. So how are you feeling, Mr. D? I hope you're well and gently recovering. What I will do, Moz, I know you're not local to where I live, obviously, but there is. I'll post it. I'll send you a PM with the name of the shop that I go to. I only go probably once every couple of months. It's a bit of a treat to myself to go out there. But I'll find the link for the hobby shop. It may be of some use to you, it may not. But you can order stuff, I think, directly online. They've got an online shop. Will do, mate. Not a problem. Will do. Martin, just to let you know, that DATL dash blah 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 suppliers on eBay sent me the 11mm wheels for the D-type Jag with the spokes in the wheels. Eileen's Emporium, yeah, they've got. It seems like they've got everything. It's like what I have trouble with some of these places is tracking down what I actually need or asking for the right material. Although the guys usually will point me in the right direction. So yeah, got the 11mm odd tires now, and they perfect DATBLTD. Yeah, I think Martin, you'd have to. I'm going to put them in some quite warm water, not lukewarm and not boiling, but warm water, because they're hard plastic. They're not rubber, just to give them a bit of give. Yeah. So, do you go, Moz? Do you go searching purposely for these catalogues? I mean, if you're familiar with Paul Restorer, he goes out and collects Dinky and Corgi and Matchbox catalogues. Seven online. Takes a bit of getting going, but the steam usually rises to the surface. Get a few people online. Then I'll crack on with my model kit this week. If the plastic card will still come. Oh yes, please keep it down. The wife in the other room. Turn your volume down, mate. Get a set of headphones. But I'm now looking forward to finally having the car boot sales going again, and I've already booked some tickets to go to a toy collectors fair that's now being organised. So those kind of events I'm really looking forward to getting back to going to. So you don't want to let her know what you're spending. I'll have to start asking questions, Moz, on paper rather than asking in audio. But if you get the chance, have a look on the Facebook community page at the bike Mr. P has done. It looks stunning. I mean, I'm just a novice, so as long as it looks the right colour and sticks together, I'm quite happy. Wow. I'm not going to say that out loud. Okay, mate. Do you have access to a webcam, Moz, on your PC? We could do a. I don't like to do all the talking. Now that I've found that we can use Facebook Rooms, and the other guys get to chuck in their voice. It's a great way of having a virtual bar, But I'm quite happy to have one night where we're talking purely about plastic models. And I know Mr. P and Martin are big into doing plastic models at some point. I'm a Mac man, so closest thing I've come, mate, is my phone. I've got a phone and the iPad Pro. But I can't bring myself. Well, the cost has got a lot to do with it. Yeah, by all means, Moz. We're trying to get this Facebook Rooms off the ground, and we're gradually getting more and more people. There's usually 6 or 7 of us. We've had people from Australia, Nova Scotia, New Zealand, the States join us online to have a chat. Diecast fix, do it British Racing Green. It looks great in BRG. Yeah, you can't beat the British Racing Green. Love it. I feel I don't know what it is. I think every Jag should be British Racing Green, but that's just a personal choice. If you're not already signed up to it, Moz, just have a search for Midlife Models on Facebook, and I'll bring you on board. And then we create events down one side, so you'll get a notification that there's going to be a new event coming up, and you'd be warmly welcomed. Well, if it isn't Brother Cat, amen. How's it doing, mate? Good to see you. Good to see you, and thanks for jumping on and saying hello, mate. Hope you're well. Meow. Perfect. Don't start meowing. Go and have a look at Pimp My Diecast video on his one of his builds. Mr. P, you're welcome. You and Pimp My Diecast can get 2 baked bean tins and a piece of string because he's exactly the same. Postman Pat. Cat, have a look at Pimp My Diecast's build of a Postman Pat vehicle. It'll make sense to you when you watch it, if you haven't seen it already. There's a fantastic cat on there. Yeah, I mean, I think with the Facebook rooms, it's kind of sparked ideas. You have a general discussion and somebody go, well, have you thought about doing this? Because it's a good way for other people to give their view and say, well, let's do a motorbike challenge, let's do a plastic build challenge, that kind of thing. So it's great to get other people involved. And we've now got 26. Sorry, each Friday. I don't know whether you've seen it, Moz, but each Friday night, I publish it's almost like a TV guide for YouTube builders. So those that have been kind enough to join the community, I put a TV guide together of their latest episodes on YouTube. So, I'm sure I've included you in every week so far. See you later, Cat. Take care, mate. Poker kits. Poker kits. That's here's the link to. Yeah, you're on. You are on. Let me go. Just bear with me 2 seconds. I don't know whether I can post this link. YouTube can be a bit funny. So there's the link to the Facebook channel. Yeah. So that was Cat popping on saying hello. I thought you was, Moz. I thought you was, mate, to be fair. That's why I give a like when you put the catalogues up and stuff like that. But we've got 26 people, including yourself, Moz, and Mr. P, and Lee, and Paul, and Martin, that are all part of the community. So it's getting quite diverse, the type of models that we all do. Mega bucks for the kits. I don't know. I know that that Batmobile I brought from the hobby shop cost me about 35 quid. And there didn't seem more than, I don't know, 15 or 16 parts to it. I think it's just because they'd only got that one. Seemed quite a rare model. I did like the look of the Titanic that was about, crikey, I don't know, 3 foot long. And the amount of detail that went down to, the ballroom and everything. Problem with Pucker is they are a subscription model without the magazine. Okay. Yeah, I'm interested. So, Mr. P, how do you upload a video to Facebook? How are you? Sorry, not Facebook. How are you accessing YouTube and Facebook if you don't have a phone and a PC? Because we might be able to get get Paul out to pimp my diecast out of the 1950s. Just drag the video to Facebook. Yeah, but you've got to be able to get on to Facebook to drag it to it. This is what I'm kind of getting at. So Mr. P does have a PC. Okay, fine. That makes more sense. Only the 50s, bless him. I don't think he admits to everything he has got, to be honest. Yeah, just this picture on Facebook now. I managed to plug it in. I managed to get a webcam, and the webcam I was going to get was over 200 quid. I ended up getting one for £22, I think it was, off Amazon. So it was, and the quality. Well, I mean, you're seeing from the other end, but I think the quality is pretty good for 20 quid. I don't say the word PC to Paul. Paul thinks PC is something completely different to personal computer. So we've just, I mean, me, Martin and Paul have just come off the back of doing the Beef Eaters challenge. So what's everybody's next project? Our next big build, which is MLM, the challenge build, of course, is the plastic kit. So I know that I'm thankful that several people are taking part in that. It was suggested in one of these community chats that we're doing now that we did a plastic kit. A friend of mine from work tried to do it. He got a starter kit and ended up throwing it in the bin because he couldn't get on with it. He struggled because he probably hadn't got an over 8-year-old child with him to show him how to do it. Hermes, yes, there's lots of fake from an IT professional's point of view. So I say professional. Be aware that Hermes and lots of parcel related companies are sending out false text messages. There was just me and Mr. P on earlier on, and my mother phoned me and said, have you had a parcel delivered here? I've had a message from Hermes. That's how it gets people. The dates, just out of just a prompt, if you like. Don't want to do before and after shots for the plastic kit. If you can take a before shot, I guess would be the box, a photo of the box, you know, the image on the front, and then an after shot would be the completed model. So we are looking at the 18th of May for the starter kit completion. But I imagine, Mr. P, that Fireblade isn't a starter kit by any stretch of the imagination. It looks quite complicated. I shot the box. Why? I hope that's a photo shot of the box and not you shot the box. But it's a Tamiya model, Paul. Is that what you're going with? You can never tell with Paul. There's no telling. As in photo. Good lad. I'm glad we're singing off the same rim sheet. What you mean you won't have guns? I'm surprised the authorities would let you have guns. In fact, I think it's got that bad with you on Facebook. Even they're tracking you down and won't let you have guns. There's some days, my friend, when you amaze me. The cat video was that was something to behold. That was. If you get a chance to see his Pimp My Diecast Postman Pat video, please watch it. Not for the model, it's for the sound effects. It was like there was a real cat there in the room. You wouldn't be able to tell the difference. Wow. Oh, get down off me sausages, Jess. Wow. Good evening, Michael. Good morning, Michael. How are you? I imagine it's getting on for, I don't know, 10 to 8 in the morning over there. Welcome, my friend. Or is it 10 to 7? Probably 10 to 8. Good. 10 to 7. Yeah, it was one or the other. I was hoping for your sake, Michael, it was 10 to 8, but no. No. Gloss coat. I think I've got I think I've got the Revel gloss coat, Mr. P. I'm really jealous of your collection, by the way, Michael. It was quite amazing. So are you a naturally early riser, Michael? Because no, I couldn't do that. Takes me all my time to get up for 8 o'clock to go to work. Avoid umbral clears, says Paul. I haven't got to the stage where I've clear coated or glossed a model as of yet. I wished I'd have done the Spitfire, the Iron Maiden Spitfire, but it ended up with quite a nice shine to it without giving it a lacquer of any sort. Okay, so what I'm gonna do, guys, we're approaching an hour, 60 minutes. I'm going to run this till 10:30 UK time, and then we'll do an after show. After show sounds quite professional, doesn't it? I'll set up a rooms, a Facebook rooms event for 10:30. So if anybody wants to come and have a face-to-face live chat, we'll do that. In fact, whilst people are just chatting away, I'll do that in the background. So rooms. So we have something called the Tavern of Transport, which was named by my daughter. What it basically is an online virtual bar. Start time. We'll make it 22:30. Save. Next. Will be open. Post. Okay, apologies, totally unprofessional. Getting up early, not easy. No, my friend. I couldn't do it as a kid, and I can't do it as a middle-aged man. Lee, I'll see you at 10:30. No, loads of modelers that I've had models ruined by Humbrol clears. I mean, I'll go back to one of the first videos I watched was when Mr. P was talking about mixing paints, and it was a really, really informative episode, and I got lots of hints and tips for that. I still haven't been brave enough to have a go at weathering, but I'm getting there. I'm thinking about what I could be doing. That's fair enough, Martin. I don't want you straining at all with a keyboard. So we'll swap over to rooms at 10:30. You can tell your friend Lee, stock up. I don't mind doing a Friday and Saturday night. I'm not sure about my liver, but the rest of them is all right. But by all means, please, anybody, Moz, come and just drop by and say hello. If just have a quick chat, introduce, so you know what we all look like. Well, you know what I look like, but see what the rest of the gang look like. Yeah, we'll do it at. I've posted it on. I've posted it on the Facebook community channel, Moz. It'll start at 9:30. If you can't get on, just give me a shout, and I'll send you a link to it through Messenger. Entirely up to you. Please don't feel forced. It's a friendly community. I don't like forcing people to do anything unless it's send me money. Well, we're gonna have at 10:30 tonight, Moz, and 9 o'clock tomorrow night, no doubt. What we've been doing, just to explain if people don't know, we try every Friday night, the first 3 Fridays of a month, we do a Facebook Rooms event at 9 o'clock, and then the last Friday of a month I come onto YouTube and we do this one. Okay, mate, that would be superb. Yeah, I want what I'd like to see is I don't know if you'd be up for it, Mr. P. Just a suggestion, a plea, if you like, or even Moz is a tutorial on weathering. I know Paul's done it as well on Pimp My Diecast. He's done weathering on tanks as well. But a tutorial for weathering for idiots, an idiot guide to weathering, or you could call it a PJ guide to weathering if you like, because it's effectively the same thing. I think, between the community, if we can link to each other's channels and say, because weathering affects both elements of what we're talking about here, whether it be a diecast restoration where you're doing a Gaslands or a cyberpunk vehicle, you do a lot of weathering. With the plastic kit community, they do a lot of weathering as well. I mean, some of the World War II vehicles, military vehicles and dioramas are just stunning. I've seen some of the ones Mr. P's done, and I'm a bit jelly about some of them. They look brilliant. Martin's got some classic images that he's done as well. I'll make a note of that. Ammo by Meg. Yeah, I just want to. The plastic. Sorry, I've just noticed that question from Michael. The plastic kit is due on the 15th of May, Michael. Well, I say 15th of May. The photo of what we've agreed. What I'd like to get is a picture of the box of the kit, and then a final shot of the model, rather than doing a before and after, because a before is when we're talking about diecast restorations, a before is a knackered vehicle and an after is a vehicle restored. Well, you haven't got a knackered one to start with, you've got a sprue of parts. So just take a picture of the box and a picture of the finished model. So in answer to your question, the 15th of May, and then publishing the videos on the 18th of May. And Mr. P's asked me, Martin, if you're still there, about the images for, we talked about doing some kind of calendar. What I've kind of come up with is almost like a pro. You know how we do the Beefeater promo videos where we show before and after shots for people who've been good enough to take part in our challenges. We can do something similar for images month by month for people who want to send us a picture. So if somebody wants to send me 4 pictures, one for January, one for February, one for March, and one for April. Martin, I know that you've got plenty. I know that Paul's got plenty, and I think I can manage to scrape one for each month, and we'll put them together into like a calendar type view. If you've got a build, Moz, that you'd like to include, we'll do it as like a promo stroke yearly calendar magazine video. Are you still far from it, Mr. Peter? I think you do yourself an injustice. But I would I'm genuinely interested in learning about weathering, and better from somebody I know will go in depth, or the basics. I'd love to have a go at weathering a diecast, probably a Super King size, because it's all right making them all look rusty. I can just chuck it in the garden and make something look rusty. But using I know you've got quite an in-depth knowledge of the various types of paints and materials, Mr. P. So I'd be really interested in following that series. Specific products like ammo are good for, but are expensive. Can buy a shitload of pastels to crush up cheaper. Yeah. So did you get that, Michael? The dates? If you're happy with that, that's fine. Okay, can work on that with the Diecast Mafia shop truck bill. Fine. I mean, we even. I think. I don't know whether you noticed, Michael, that George from Diecast Salvage had 3D printed a Space 1999 Eagle. I'm not quite up to that level of printing yet, but it looked really good, and he sent me some pictures of how he's painted it and weathered it today. I agree. I mean, I wasn't aware of. I was aware of dry brushing, but not in the modelling sense, and the effect that dry brushing has on something like a Jag grill after you've chromed it and you've gone over and. Yeah, that's the one, Michael. Since then he's primed it and done some colouring to it as well. I'll get him to post the pictures of it. It was. I'll say this much: it's cheaper to 3D print that goddamn model than it is to buy it. It's extortionate price. It is, Paul. I agree. The lads put some effort into it. And something like that, but parts of that Eagle, like the nose cone, the capsule at the front, that could take anything up to 3 hours to print. I'll prompt. I think he's gonna. He did say to me, George, bless him, because George has had some issues. I'm not going to go into why, but George has had some issues. And he said, would you mind if I included a 3D printed model in the plastic kit? And I thought, well, why not? You've started it. You've made it in plastic. It hasn't cost a fortune, because believe it or not, something like that Eagle will probably cost, I don't know, £1 in PLA, and he's painted it himself and top coated it and weathered it, and I thought it's in the it's in the spirit of what we're doing with the starter kit. And it's also encourages George to get back on board as well. Oil paints can be used for a subtle effect. How do you go on? Do oil paints take a lacquer covering, Paul? Because I know that some materials react to lacquer. I'm surprised Laz isn't here by now as well. Another one is taking photos of workshops and areas. That was something that we found interesting to post onto the community channel. I know that Troy Wolf, who's just starting off, he took this fantastic picture of his work area, and it looked brilliant, nice, clean. And then what we didn't realise was he hadn't put his tools on the bench. I thought he got storage heaven. And then he posted another picture after he put the tools on there, and you couldn't see the bench anymore. Laz will be talking to his mum. So yeah, things like the community. For the community, it's an ideal. The MLM community channel is a great place where we've now got enough experience with different types of builds and models and what have you to ask questions and get advice. Because if you post something on if you post a comment on a YouTube channel, like Marty's or Matchbox Garage, your question gets lost in the ether, if you like, in all the comments. Oh, I like that. If it's weathering, shouldn't need a clear coat. I use the floor polish. It comes out satin. Are you talking about the Pledge, Martin? Mr. P, I have stopped sealing my weathering. I just leave it in my damp shed for a couple of days and let the damp air react with the powders. It's interesting, isn't it? Some of us are trying to, like the likes of me and Martin and others are trying to keep our. We like to call it. We sound professional. We call it workshops. We don't call it sheds. But yes, mine's a shed. You're trying to keep it warm so that you can keep your aerosols, your rattle cans to a temperature. Although I've now got a couple of steel cabinets over to one side where I keep all the rattle cans inside. But with Mr. P, so I imagine that's ideal if you're going up to the Devon Man Cave first thing in the morning. That's when it's its coldest. And we do get plenty of damp weather over here. I hate it. I mean, it was amazing that the other day I was able to spray a model, and I've got one of them little plastic greenhouses. It's only about, I don't know, 4 foot by 1.5 foot wide with the plastic zip things. And I put a model in there to because it was so warm. It was like having it under a fire. Is that onion barges? You daft bugger. I take it the kebabs turned up. Oh yeah. Bless him. Yes, it's usually fish and chip Friday, isn't it? Friday as well. So yeah, we've got an event. So I'm based in the Midlands in South Derbyshire, and we've got an event on August the 1st in our nearest big town, which is Burton-on-Trent, where well renowned for its breweries, and the Bath Museum are holding a toy collectors fair, which I've mentioned to some of the chaps who were showing a bit of an interest in coming up, which I'm hoping they'll be able to get. It's not a you must come type thing, but the invitation's there. And I don't mind travelling. It'd be great to meet up with folks and go around some of these collectors fairs for even if it's a stop over at a bloody Premier Inn or something. Just got to get used to getting out again. I'm looking forward to it. I did notice somebody did send me a link to an online auction site, and one particular day in a month they do diecast models, but they were I think they're more expensive than eBay, and that's saying something. Bolton Model Shop is a must not miss. You find out when it is, my friend. And I know Lee's in your area, and I'll be up. I think Bolton, Manchester, all them kind of places are about 2.5 hours for me. But I don't mind. Need to get out more. We've got some making up to do. Usually January, February at the weekend. Okay, so we've got a while yet then. Comic cons, I like going to comic cons as well. Going to the one in used to be a really good one at Wrexham University, but they've moved it this year to somewhere else, and it escapes me. I love going to comic cons. The one in Birmingham was, I don't know what it's like now. I haven't been for a few years, but it was brilliant. But even if you get to go to a big car boot sale, I mean, I'm sure we've all got access to local car boot sales, but there are some like mega car boot sales. It's worth getting around places like that. Especially when people are packing up about, I don't know, 11:30, 12 o'clock, they want to get rid of stuff. I just want to get some feedback on it. What do people think about this kind of format? This watch the idiot on screen while people do texting on the sideline. It's a great way of communicating, but I'd really like to encourage people to, get like this face-to-face chat going. I can't afford I've spent too much on. Miss Martin Des spent too much of my money on various bits and bobs, including George. He's as bad. So I was going to get a license for some software so we could invite people onto YouTube, but it's I think it's about 130 odd quid to get the. I was going to use Zoom if people are familiar with Zoom, but you need to get a pro license to do it. And I don't think my broadband would be up to it either. But I'm still happy to do one of these chats at the end of each month if people are happy to carry on doing it. And it's the only way we get to talk to Paul and Mr. P at this moment in time. But don't be shy about coming onto the Facebook rooms. It's the community is there for everybody. It's not just me and the beef eaters. sometimes we may look a bit stunned because we don't know who people are. But once we get to know people, like Michael's joined it. That was brilliant. We've also had Casey from Down Under. We've had Troy from the States. Ron from Sumo Diecast has joined us before now. It's amazing how this community is. We've grown. We've got 162 members on the Facebook channel. Mr. P, I'm happy to keep the format if people take part. Don't worry, my friend. I don't want to exclude anybody. That's my biggest concern. And if that's the favourite way of communicating, then we'll keep this last Friday of the month going. I don't understand it, especially after COVID, as I have brain fog and lack of concentration. That's not how you spell squirrel, if that's supposed to be squirrel. Or is that the northern thing? Yeah, so Mr. P, happy to keep it. Squirrel. We call them, if it's a squirrel, we call them squiddly coats. Well, my daughter does, and that's good enough for me. Or floofs. We've got 26. I'll tell you 2 points. We've got 26 featured builders. That includes the Beef Eaters, the Diecast Mafia, other modelers that I say no, that's not true. We haven't got 26. We've got more than 26 featured modelers. But it was the first, the TV guide that I did this week, or the YouTube guide that I did this week to channels, was the biggest one I've done so far. And that involved going around everybody's channel and getting everybody's latest episode. So it is building. But we've also been joined by people who are just getting into the hobby and they haven't filled out their channel yet, like Troy. Troy Wolf's joined us. He's got a YouTube channel. He's come on to the found the Facebook community, started asking questions, like how you got your bench set up, what cameras do you use, this kind of thing. So we're it's a way of passing on your experience, encouraging people to develop their own channel, and for us as a community to support them and advertise their first video and that kind of thing. No, well, what I'm trying to do, Paul, is sounds a bit cliche, really, but it's paying it forward. People have helped me out. Like yourselves, like Mr. P, like Martin. It was those people that inspired me to do it. So, if we can pass on our collective knowledge and be there as a support system, Christ, this is getting shit deep now. Then it encourages more people to take it up, which is, just my personal aim, I guess. But I started off by doing the first one that we did, Mr. P, was a live YouTube chat like this. I wish I could afford the license to get the Beef Eaters online, but I don't think it'd get used enough. We did try it. It kind of fell flat. and Facebook rooms was so easy. We created a Facebook room, which is pretty much the same thing. If you can get to Messenger on some kind of device, then you can get on. Although, don't mention, Lee has problems with it. He has to use his wife's phone, bless him. It's about time we got it sorted out. Now, there's no naysayers here. We've all got our own views, but yeah, that's what makes us what we are. So I'm just going to pop onto the. I mean, the Facebook channel started by me inviting friends and family from work to, view my hobby. But that's the kind of thing that we do on YouTube. Really, we encourage people to subscribe to our channels. Doesn't necessarily mean that they're all model makers, or they may be diecast enthusiasts, but it doesn't necessarily mean they're restorers and what have you. So if we can encourage people to view our channels, whoever you may be, whether it would be my channel, whether it be Martin's channel, whether it be Mr. P's channel, the idea is to gain more support for the channels, or garner more support for the channels. And it's surprising what you find out. The fact that you go out and do things like build a bloody background and find signs and pictures and stuff like that, it's all good fun. It's great fun. I love it. I've been downtown and got one of these vintage shops. That's not a vintage sign. It's a brand new sign done in a vintage style. And even that element of it, I find great fun. And creating, if you've seen some of my earlier videos, and I haven't quite got it set up again, but it was like, welcome to the MLM Ruin to Refresh, and we've had a car delivered to the garage, so I created a diorama, which was just a diorama of a garage. I self-made a garage, and that was great fun as well. I feel like I'm waffling. This is when I start to run dry and you want other people involved to take on some of the chat, I guess. And I will run dry because my glass is empty. But I don't want anybody feeling like they're being forced into doing something they're uncomfortable with or can't do. Is another way of putting it as well. I will check to see if you can join a Facebook room by chat only, rather than so you don't need a webcam. I'm kind of guessing that you can, because I know that Mr. P and Paul have both posted on the Facebook community, so I'm not sure how we'd do it. But Mr. P has got a PC, so he could see the text, I believe. It's all gone very quiet. Okay. We're still live. Are we still there? Yeah, great fun to be had. I nearly brought a badger glove puppet. I was going to call him Kelvin. You, my friend, are a bad man. No worries, Moz. Another 3 or 4 minutes and we'll be there. I think it's great until the time when it starts. I don't think you can join it before the time. Something like event hasn't started yet, something like that. But I do like. I've since. I don't know if I know me and Lee are aware with a guy aware of a channel called 3D Bot Maker. And this was a question I'd got for Moz. And Mr. P might be able to help as well. What we're after is a 1/64 scale garage crew. So themed scale model people. I know a lot of them are railway themed figures, people sitting on benches and stuff like that. And the only place I can find them is from the States. And to buy 4, how do I put it, garage crew type people, they're like 25 quid for 4. So if you're aware, Mr. P, of any connections you've got or any websites that do scale figures to add to like my garage diorama that I've got in the background, I will take a picture and put it on the community just to remind people of what I'm doing. That's why I created that car lift. It's going to go in my little garage diorama. Okay then. I'm at that 10:30-ish. By all means, come and join us on the Facebook page, community page. If you've got, post anything, just post something in the chat, on Facebook, and I'll pick it up. I brought some wenches the other day. Did you now? Pimp, my diecast, brought some wenches. Totally understand, Mr. P. I want this. If I kind of, Martin didn't ask for my comments to him that I made, but I said my measure is if Martin Dare leaves our community, then I'll pack it up, because it's a friendly community where I don't want to be the centre of attention. It's in the name of the channel, community. I want people to be involved and not just all about, midlife models. And for 20 quid, Mr. P, it's worth giving it a go. And if you want, even if you just want to have a, like a messenger video chat, you can do it with one-on-one, or a couple of us. Get used to using it. I'll quite happily jump onto a messenger rooms channel, with a couple of people. I'm hoping you trust us enough or got to know us enough now. Yeah, thanks, Paul. 1/64 figures. They're just a little bit bigger than the figures you'd expect to go into a Matchbox standard model. But, trick of the camera. So, yeah, Pimp my diecast. So, Pimp, brought some wenches. I'm going to leave that there. Okay, so I'm going to say thank you, as always. It's much appreciated for joining us. I'm going to jump over to the Facebook community page. No worries, Mr. P. No worries. However, if I do find anything, I'll pass the information back. If I do find any figures, I'll pass them back to you, and give you a couple of examples of what we're looking for on eBay. So if you're looking for something along that lines, you know where to look. Okay, chaps, I'm going to jump over to Facebook, and hopefully I'll see some of you there. By all means, anybody else, just drop me a line anytime. Quite happy to do some testing with anybody, and I'll catch you later. So I'll see you soon. Cheers. Hello.
Hello.
Where's my video? Why isn't my video working?
No, I can't. All I see is a blank square.
Well, you can't bloody see anyway, so you've got no excuses.
I can hear you. What you done? What you done?
I don't know. Fucking hopeless, aren't I? I can see.
Oh, dear.
I'm gonna bomb out of this and I'll rejoin it. Give me a minute, mate.
All right.